BMW renewed all of their big boxer engine touring models, and one of these is the RS, the Sport Touring version, and this bike had a lot of changes, so let's know it from closer. Maybe the most visible change related to the previous 1200 version is the front part, because the whole front panel is a new one. It's absolutely changed. The previous one had bigger lights and halogen lights, and there the LED DRL was in the middle, one line and a vertical line, but here we have two much narrower lights, and this is full LED technology, just like this. And also the DRL is a very beautiful formed and very well seeable thing. Although the front part of the RS was absolutely redesigned related to its previous version, but the windshield is more or less the same. It's pretty big and has two positions only, and they are pretty far from each other. For me, with my height, I am 190 centimeters, the downer part was, I have to say, the better, although the wind is coming approximately to my neck in this position, but and I have a lot of bugs on my helmet's visor, but anyhow, I get much more wind and much less wind noise, and this is an important thing, because when I lift up the windshield, then in a normal sitting position the noise is really increasing, especially at high speeds. The only occasion when I have to use the windshield in the higher position is the high speed and longer distance riding on highways, because when I do that, then the wind is simply too much in the lower position, so then comes this body situation, then I have to sit like this, and then it is silent and no wind at all, even for longer distance and very high speeds. But in all the other cases, the lower windshield position is the better for me. The previous version of the bike still had a partially analog dashboard, but on this version we can already see BMW connected system. This is the basic dashboard of the bike and the only available, and it's absolutely just as on the same way informative as all the other BMW models. The main element is of course the RPM counter, but let's not make any more noise here, and we always see our current speed. On the upper part of it we have one board computer, the data of which we can change, and we also see the mode of the motorbike, and we have the normal road, the dynamic, which has a better throttle response, a dynamic pro, which has even better throttle response, and the dynamic traction control is allowing more spin to the rear wheel, and we have a rain mode, which is really necessary on this bike, but we will speak about it a little bit later. And we have the very informative and well built up menu system, which we can change with our left thumb only. We have a vehicle setting or a vehicle part where we can see a lot of data about our motorbike, onboard computer, trip computer, tire pressures and things like this. And we can connect it to our mobile phone, and then we can navigate with the dashboard. We can listen to our medias or use our telephone. These are all very easily usable, as we have already presented in our previous reviews, and we can reach all the settings of the motorbike itself as well. The 1254 cubic centimeter Boxer engine is just the same as in all the other big BMW Boxer touring models. So the max power is 136 brake horsepower and the max torque is 143 Newton meters, but not these numbers are really showing what it is knowing, because this is just that way aggressive that you really need, and that's why I said that we will go back to this theme, that you will really need, for example, the rain mode, because when you're riding on public roads and it is raining and slippery and everything, then it's really helpful that you use it. Otherwise the bike is simply just too aggressive to control it really safely among these bad conditions, for example. And I think that this engine is not going to get any real critics even in this model for its acceleration and all the other parameters. The acceleration of the new ShiftCam boxer engine we can say that this is absolutely sufficient. But not this is the biggest advantage of this engine, but how is it starting from a lower RPM? So now I reduce the RPM and just pull the throttle in 4 speed, and this is the acceleration as the bike is starting from there, and this is the best thing on public roads. The brakes and the suspension didn't change to the previous version, the 1250RS, so related to that, and it's, I think, all of a lucky thing, because this part was absolutely perfect on that model as well. In the front we have two conventional telescopic forks, upside down ones of course, and pretty thick. The width is 45 millimeters. And which is even more important than the travel is 140 millimeters, and if you buy the dynamic to the bike, then a lot of parameters are partially automatically changed while you are riding. So on this way the whole riding becomes much more comfortable and much safer and even much more dynamic as well, because when you hit, for example, a road mistake, then it automatically changes to softer, and when you start to ride harder or more dynamic on a curvy road, then it automatically changes to harder and more dynamic setting. In the rear we have a central suspension unit, and the travel of it is also longer than an average let's say Far East penis, because here the travel is also 140 millimeters, which is pretty sufficient related to a sport touring motorbike. And if you don't buy the dynamic as then you can change a lot of parameters by a tool, and if you buy it, then you can do all of these things from menu, and a lot of things are changed while you are riding automatically, which is very comfortable and very sporty and safe as well. The brake system is also absolutely the same. The most important part is the front one, where we have two huge 320 millimeter disc brakes with 4-piston radial Brembo calipers, and everything is, I think, on the top, because even if you relate it to the really good dynamism and speed categories of the motorbike, the 1250RS, these brakes are absolutely good and sufficient. The body position is absolutely the change as it was on the 1200RS. So the downer part, the leg section, is we have to say it's sporty. So guys who are the same way tall as me, 190 centimeters, are not going to like it on longer distances. But if you get accustomed to this sporty leg position, then it's absolutely good for longer distances as well. For shorter riders, I think 180-185 centimeter body height is the limit. Even this part is comfortable, but for all of us, even the tall ones, the upper body's position is absolutely good. For example, I cannot even say on another way on this bike than with the straight back. So it's really a comfortable and good sitting position. The only other thing is when I really want to go behind the windshield at higher speeds. So the upper body's position is totally good and comfortable, and it's also true for the passenger, because he or she has a big and very soft and thick seating possibility. The leg space is also enough, and if we buy the boxes for the 1250RS, then even the backrest is going to be there. So the bike is absolutely good for even a two-person touring, especially as the weight it can carry is far over 200 kilos, so some 217 kilos. So if we are two person and some cases, then the bike is good for that as well. If once we already started to speak about the boxes, then let's look inside them, although this part didn't change related to the previous version of the 1200RS at all. So you can open it, and you can buy these inner bags, which are pretty good, although they decrease a little bit the intake of the box, the side cases, but if you have these, then you don't have to carry up the whole thing to your hotel room, only the inside bags. But if you don't use them, you can see that this inside part is really genius, because with this downer section you can reach that if you put any other things here and fix them with these rubber stripe, then they are not falling out if you open it. And if you want to carry up the whole thing to your hotel room, then only in this case you need the key of the bike and only one movement to release the whole box, and you can carry it with you anywhere. So all in all, we can say that the new BMW R1250RS is the same way good motorbike as its previous version was, but in all of those places where it could be even better, there it became even better, because it's stronger, even more dynamic, and all the other things are just the same way good. Comfortable for all of those riders who like this sport touring version of riding a motorbike. Not a sport bike, so don't mix it. It's a sport touring bike, which means that it is built for long journeys, but if you like this little bit sporty seat position, then when you ride the new RS on curvy roads and you really hunt for lots of curves a day, then it gives much more fun than the touring bikes, for example the R1250RT, which is mainly a touring bike. This is mainly a sport touring bike, and this is really a big difference. For the previous version of it, I said that, and I saw that it's close to an Ettalon in its class, but as we know, Ettalons are always going higher and higher. Just this thing happened in the case of this bike. If you liked our review, please push a thumb up on it. In the description under the review you can find a link where you can donate our work. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe for our channel and watch our previous contents, and thanks a lot for enjoying us.